Hey guys, welcome back to the doremicom channel. We're here with part 2 of Season 4, Episode 4, Taming the Tabletop Shrue of the RTD. And here's my panel. We're going to go ahead and continue on with question number 4. Remember, we got 7 questions this time. Ladies, sit down. Sorry. I was like, are you calling it the ladies?
A lot, don't you, Brian?
we're all sitting, dude. We're all sitting.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So make me say it again. No. Here we go. Question number 4, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being never, 10 being always, are wargamers collecting multiple armies to ensure they have a game to play? And for this, we're going to start with John from WarGamePainting.
I'm going to say 0. You buy one army, you're always going to have a game to play. The reason why you buy more armies is because you want to change up the diversity, you want to see new stuff on the table, you want to paint something differently. You're never, ever buying it because you think somebody's not going to play with me because I'm playing Tau. I mean, you're doing it because you want to branch out, try something else.
All right. Romeo, how about you?
I think the same thing. I think it's just getting stagnant with one game line or one game type. I know I personally play a lot of variety of games and have multiple factions within those games, and it's simply because I like to switch up because I get burned out of one genre. Especially if I lose in that genre a lot, I get burned out much faster. So that's why I do it. I mean, I like to bounce around just to kind of keep it fresh and enjoy all the different games.
So what's your number?
You know what? Oh God, for jumping around, I would say probably if I'm giving a number based on how many people jump around. I'm saying number of people, or like again using the 1 to 10 scale. How often are people buying it just to ensure they have a game? Oh shit. I don't know, maybe 5, 50-50. You gotta figure some people are dedicated to one line while others like to jump around. So I'd say 5. If I believe that.
Smurf, what's your thoughts?
I'm giving it a 2 because I don't think people are more inclined to buy a new army. I think they're more inclined to buy into a new system. Because when I read this, I thought army in the same line. You know, it's another 40K army. But, you know, what happens if you buy a 40K and a fantasy army? Now you've doubled your chances of getting a game in because you have 2 different systems. You know, you throw in War Machine and the possibilities are endless. So, I mean, I think it's more of they're willing to buy into a new system, not necessarily just a new army.
All right. And I know for a fact that John should not have said 0. At the very least, he should have said 2 because he knows that I do this, that I collect multiple armies to always ensure that I have a game. The whole thing is that we are in an era right now where there are so many games that are actually getting traction that you'll go to a game store sometimes and maybe the game that you want to play someone else didn't bring an army for. And there's also that whole part of, you know, as you're deciding whether or not you're going to buy a second army for whatever other reason that you have, that some portion of that might be just in that inclination of ensuring that you have a game, whether or not a buddy comes over to your house and they just didn't bring anything, you can just get a game going. So I really actually think the number is a little bit higher. I would have said somewhere between a 4, like a 3 or 4, but probably closer to I'll put my hand down. It's a 4, and that's all I have about that. Continue discussion.
Not much. You guys are solid on that one.
Did you just squeak when you did that?
Squeak.
No.
Like
Did I think you squeaked when you? Yes.
I'm blaming you on that. That's all I did. Okay. Well, then I guess we don't have continued discussion for 4. That's fine because we got 4 questions on this part, and we will jump straight over to question number 5. Question number 5. Pick 2 items a player should always have beyond models and dice, and 2 items most often neglected or purchased last. And items may show up in both lists. With that, we are going to jump over to Romeo.
2 items you should have, I would say, the rule book, and I guess I'll wrap that up as in rule book and codex. And I'll jump on what people always tend to forget. Surprisingly enough, that is the one thing I find that people forget all the time. You'll find a guy who'll give you an army list that he printed out from Army Builder or some other place, and he won't have a clue, or better yet, even worse, he doesn't use Army Builder, he writes it down on a piece of paper, and he gives it to you, and you're like, dude, this doesn't even make sense. Besides the chicken scratch, it also, the math doesn't add up. Dreadnought's not 62 points, and should have, so both questions there. Is there Codex 4 general rulebook? The second thing I would say is, and here's what's crazy, and this is going to be a totally off-the-wall answer. I think a laser pointer, that thing has stopped more arguments in my gameplay than anything else I've ever bought, because there's no more line of sight issues, and many of the games use that now, true line of sight. There's no more, that's blocking this, do I get this? It really saves hours of argument and frustration, and you can get it for like $9. So here I am just selling accessories, you know what I mean? But the good news is I don't make or sell laser pointers, so it's just a general item you guys should get, because it really is useful.
All right.
So that's my answer. And do I have to give a number for this?
No, there's no numbers involved in this question. Hey, Smurf, you're up next.
Okay, first one, and you're going to love me for this. Transport cases.
Yes!
And I'm not talking necessarily high-end. I'm talking, you could go to Hobby Lobby and get a tackle box, and I would be a happy kid. But just get something to carry the things in. Come on. I don't want you to be sorting for half an hour trying to pick out your army. And the other one is, I have to agree, it's books. Don't go to the game store and grab the one off the shelf to use, because if I'm buying that, I don't want your grubby mitts all over it, because I know you've been eating Doritos before you touch it.
So both your items show up in both lists, Smurf? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's the exact same thing in both lists.
Nice. John,
keep it simple.
You're up.
Both mine show up in both lists, too. I'm going to say the first one is transportation cases, and I'm going to step away from Smurf and say you should buy high-end ones, honestly. I can't... As soon as I bought built-in foam stuff, honestly, my life became so much easier. I still, you can see my happy transport case back there. That's got foam in it. But it's a briefcase, but it's got foam in it. But it's custom foam, and it fits everything nice. So that, it helps unbelievably a lot. And the other one would be the little glass things that you put in glass jars for, scenery or whatever. Old glass discs that you carry around, use those for wound markers, because you use dice normally, and those dice get picked up, they get thrown, they get whatever. You bring your wounds with you, get little pog things, and carry them around with you.
Nice. I don't know if the area that I'm in is a little bit different from you guys, but everyone I know brings some sort of army transportation bag, and so must-have army transportation bag, no ifs, ands, or buts. You're already spending so much time assembling and painting. Protect your investment, if not in dollars, in time. The second thing that I think is a must-have is translucent weapon templates. We take this for granted. A lot of people do because a lot of people are in that 40K mindset, and it comes with a starter box, and you're like, forget them sometime. Forget to bring them sometime and see how well your game goes. Sucks. Okay. Now, the things that are neglected in purchase last, again, in my area, I don't see anyone who doesn't have some sort of army transport case, but I'm going to say that the things that are most often neglected or purchase last is terrain. Again, because, if I'm not going to some place that already has terrain that I can pull off the shelf, I'm using tissue boxes and calling it a day. And movement templates, because as convenient as they can be, you already have a tape measure on you, and the movement templates are really only useful if you're going in a straight line for most games. So those are my must-haves and things often purchase last and neglected, and I actually think neglected and purchase last for good reason. So, continue discussion. I think it's amazing that almost all of you had at least one item that was on both lists. I think that alone is interesting to me.
I'm going to argue with John. about high-end gaming cases, because let's look at HeroClix. It is a war game, and all the stuff comes pre-painted, and it is durable as you would not believe. I'm not gonna go spend $90 on a group of 10 figures that cost me $10. I mean, the payoff for me just is not there, and I'm not gonna go out, and they vary in size so much and all that. Tackle box works just fine. It really does,
okay,
and I'm not trying to like.
All the 9-year-olds out there who play HeroClix, don't go buy foam cases. For all the big boys, go buy foam cases. When you don't build or paint, it's not a tabletop hobby game. It is checkers.
I agree.
So,
it's not a hobby game, but it is a war game.
I love it. I love it. You threw down the gauntlet. I like that.
I mean, do you go buy a custom foam case for the $3.99 chess set you just bought? Because it is a war game.
No, that's a board game.
They usually come with a case. Most chess sets.
I'm talking about the cheap one, the one you get from Dollar Tree.
Okay, we're gonna go on a little story time here. We're gonna sit on Johnny's knee and we're gonna have story time. Back in the day, I used to carry all my stuff around in either a shoebox or a tackle box. Because I didn't fish, I was a disappointment to my father, and I just stuck all my figures in the tackle box. Everything broke, everything chipped. It was terrible because I was spending more time fixing than I was playing a game. Bought foam carrying cases. I don't have that problem anymore. Granted, I'm not using one-piece plastic kits from China, but I think my point stands. If you're playing big boy games, buy foam carrying cases.
I actually have to back up. I have to back up John. I have to say I did not realize what I was missing out on having a high-end carrying case until you have one. And when you have one that really fits the models well, it's eye-opening. And again, I'm not trying to pat my guest host on the back or anything, but at the same time, seriously, once you've actually had a game where you have either paid a lot of money to get it painted or you painted it yourself, and you are dealing with foam trays that aren't necessarily like pluck foam where the glue kind of grabs some of that paint and pulls it right off, it's a bit of a treat. Kind of like an ice cream sundae for your old games.
I think I understand. See, the funny thing about it is, for us as a manufacturer of these type of cases, we have to look at both viewpoints of the hobby gamer that doesn't care, and it's not important. It's not a valuable thing. It's not because they don't care about their minis, but again, it's on the back burner. There's other alternatives that are very cheap or free laying around their house that they would rather go with, and then there's the high-end gamer that believes and would not travel without it. The thing about it is we understand both sides of the story, at least for us at Battle Foam we do. And when we design things, we tend to design multiple levels of cases for all types of genres of gamers. For the budgeted gamers, we have bags that are in the $20, $30 range. For the high-end gamer, we have bags up to $350 that are made to carry $2,000 models. So they vary up and down. So the argument, I think, is good on both sides. If you don't care about your models, or care very little about them because you feel that they're very durable, then you don't need high-end protection for them. Now, on the other hand, if you spend a lot of time, money, effort in getting your models to be really high-end or look high-end, or better yet, you just travel a lot and you don't want the baggage handlers, or even just traveling in general to beat up on your model, then you should look at something high-end because, a Ferrari has a Ferrari engine in it. You're going to go very fast and it's going to be awesome and girls are going to think you're cute. You want to still get from point A to point B, but you don't care because you're married, you have 6 kids, and you're old and don't care what you look like. Then you can get away with something else, a car that just gets you from point A to point B. They both serve the same purpose, you not walking, but one is going to service one version of life while another services another. So I think both points are there. It's just the gamer has to make a decision. What is the value of their hobby? And then once they've made a value and a decision in their minds of what their hobby means to them, then they can make a decision on how to protect that value.
Ladies and gentlemen, This man gets it.
That being said, Smurf, when I was playing Advanced Dungeons & Dragons games, and they were hella durable as well, you saw my stack trays of everything goes into one area. So I get your point, too.
I also saw you go, oh, this guy's not important.
Yeah, that's true. I did do that. Anyways, on to question number 6. Question number 6 is... again, this is going to be a quick response, so we don't need to defend the answers very much. For a new player who owns a starter set, what is one piece of advice you would give them to make sure they are experiencing their chosen tabletop war game to its fullest? And for this, we're going to start with Smurf.
Make sure your group isn't made up of D-bags.
All right. John, you're up.
Take it slow. Don't rush into it. Learn the core rules. Then you can branch out.
All right. Romeo.
I agree. I say read the rules cover to cover. There's nothing more frustrating than thinking you know the rules, getting into 10 fights with your friend who actually read the rules, and debating over a game that has 50 points worth of models on the board. That takes 10 hours to play because you fought for 9 of those hours. So read the rules cover to cover, know what the heck you're doing before you start jumping in.
All right, and my advice is to remember to have fun. Too often I've seen that get way overlooked, and people just get too consumed with the game. The hobby is, not necessarily a cheap hobby to get into, but can be a lot of fun if you just remember to have fun. Again, this is kind of. I was going to say we're going to have continued discussion, but I think we're just going to go ahead and jump straight on to question number 7, which is the kind of like the epitome of the RTD, quite honestly. It is the prediction question. So, question number 7. Make a prediction no matter how outlandish on the future of tabletop gaming, the wargamer, and the pieces needed to play or enhance the game. And for this, we're going to start with John from WarGamePainting.
Okay. The future of tabletop gaming is going to see new people come onto the market who charge prices adequate to what they're releasing, meaning that you're not paying $60 for one chunk of plastic. It's comparable to what you're getting. The wargamer is going to realize that and start shifting away from these other games and going towards these cheaper companies. And the pieces needed to play or enhance the game, I think they're honestly going to stay the same because the genre of tabletop games is under such a big umbrella that even if you come up with something revolutionary, you're going to still need these fundamental things. Like, you're never not going to use a tape measure.
John, always willing to go the extra mile and give us 3 predictions instead of 1. Romeo, you're up.
All right, I predict within 5 years that GW will no longer be king of the hill in tabletop wargaming. There's way too many good companies that are coming up right now. I don't want to say which one will take over or share the market even Steven with GW, but I definitely feel... and not trying to be a naysayer or be negative, Nana, but I feel that GW has made a lot of mistakes in the last 2 to 4 years, which have caught up to them, and within 5 years, they will be caught by the competition.
All right. Smurf, you're up.
I'm going to go with companies are going to start micromanaging the amount of items, of additionals that they add to a game, much like the DLC for the video game industry right now, and that it's just going to be like, oh, do you want to use this wizard? Well, you're going to need this token set. Oh, do you want to use this hero? You're going to need these weapon cards. And it's just going to become so... It's going to become money hungry for the bigger corporations, and it's going to really hurt the gamer.
All right. My prediction. For someone who doesn't sell but consumes items that fall outside of the starter boxes, it seems to me that I purchased these items based on one of 3 qualities. Either A, it successfully protects my initial investment, it speeds up the game by reducing delays and confusion or arguments during the game, or it reduces the volume of things you need to take when you want to go play a game. Okay? So with that in mind, with production techniques and building materials ever evolving, it seems like a company could at some point in the near future come up with a sturdy 3-dimensional pop-up terrain set, an entire table's worth of terrain that fits into a 3-ring binder and can return to that binder when you're done playing. And that's all from the RTD. Once again, this is my panel. Hope you all had a good time, and we will catch up to you on episode 5. Oh, quick thank you to everyone here, and I haven't been doing this, but I will make sure that it happens from here on out. In the description area below, if you're interested in someone who brought up a topic that's interesting to you, their channels will be in the description area. Have a good one.